what she said. Welcome to Pillage Overload.
Trying to figure out the whole transition thing. Get that workflow. Make it all look sexy.
You know what? I'm just
happy that we're here and live and we did it.
I'm just going to admit that we're never going to get this right. So, but that'll be our thing. Like the beginning of the show will just be a fucktastic every time. So it'll be awesome.
But here we are.
But it's great.
There she is.
That's what makes this fun.
You are all sexy. Ahoy, Glenn. Hello, Emily. Lady Red. Sexy. Trying to make the sexy.
If you say
trying
so.
to bring sexy back. I mean, I've only been gone for what, 2 weeks?
Yeah. I feel like we haven't.
Week.
It feels a lot longer.
Oh
than that.
my god! Well, with everything else going on, it definitely feels like it's been a long. It's right in our world. Yeah. It's okay. It's always in our world. Pirates and technology do not mix. We know that.
These pirates and technology do not mix.
I did the research. I thought I got it right. I figured it out. I've been working really hard to figure out the software. Hey, it's just us.
Look. Here's the reality of it. We've come a long way.
A
very long way.
And anybody who watches Mayhem show on Monday night, Captain Corey's podcast, he's got somebody who does that full time for him. Damn it!
We're sitting up here doing it ourselves.
I'm doing it while we're live on the show.
Yeah.
Hi, Bo.
You're welcome.
See, our favorite people are on. I love you. I love you all.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Welcome to the show.
Here we are
doing it again.
Oh shit, we're not. I'm almost took a sip of that, and we're not even there yet. I was almost bet. I didn't, and I did not mix that. Hold on.
No, you didn't. You did. You shook it.
No, yeah, but the champagne I put on top, I did not mix. Don't drink it. Don't drink it.
No, I'm just holding it so you don't spill it.
So,
Get my lighter out.
You need a lighter. All right.
Grab my Twitch coin.
Your Twitch coin. Oh, do you have the coin? Okay.
I do.
Shit, I don't know where mine went. Yeah, it's gonna be that week, guys.
Yeah.
It'll be that week.
Here we are.
It's gonna be that week. So we're just gonna jump into it.
Welcome to the party, pal.
And we're almost there. Ain't Christmas until Hans Gruber fulfills.
I know. I can't wait.
Blossom.
I can't wait.
And you got to see it. I am jealous you got to see it.
Yes, I did. I got to see Nakatomi Tower.
You suck.
I did.
Considering I want to watch it all the time, and you're like, oh yeah, Bo's finishing her meeting. So Bo is doing her rock meeting and talking to it, and then she'll come.
Bo is rocking it out.
Bo's our rock. Hi, Robert. Yes, we're drunkies. By the end of the night, we will be.
Buzz, I'm not.
We're working on it. We're working on it.
This is hashtag drink
more rum.
Duh. That's what we do.
Here, hold on. Let's just make sure we got that there. So there we go. Hashtag drink more rum. See, right there. Hashtag drink more rum.
Yeah. Look at it.
Read it.
Read it.
Read it there as we do.
Follow it.
As we do this week's drink. So this week's drink, tomorrow we will be, even more drunk. That's right, Tess. She didn't say that, but I said that.
Yes.
So this week's drink.
Hi, Tess.
Is called hibiscus, and I thought it was super cool that we drew this drink because for years I dyed my hair the color hibiscus, and honestly, it's not that far off from what I used to dye my hair, and I did that until I think we moved to Virginia, and my hair is very long. It's normally in a braid and a ponytail, and don't really realize it's that long until it's down. And dyeing your hair by yourself when it's that long is a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
I would know that. He doesn't. But that's okay.
No, I don't.
He doesn't.
I don't have them.
Hey, Sonny boy. Old pirate days had only one kind of streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about fuckastrophes.
Hey.
Like I said, we've come a long way. We have.
We've kind of a very long way.
I mean, come on.
Emily, been there, done that, cut off my hair. I haven't, I've actually been...
Emily, like, what is your real hair color? Because I don't know.
I think she's a brunette.
Tell us.
I'm pretty sure she's a brunette like me. But yeah, I cut my hair really short for years. Actually, when we first moved to Virginia, I cut my hair really short, and I haven't cut it since. And it's just been growing and a big pain in my ass. So all I do is I put it in a ponytail and a braid because I work construction and wearing hard hats and long hair is a pain in the ass. Anyway, hibiscus. Drink of the drink.
Yeah.
Drink of the week. Drink of the week. Drink of the drink.
The drink of the drink.
It's going to be one of those weeks.
Yes.
2 ounces of cranberry juice. 2 ounces of champagne. And yes, ladies and gentlemen.
Only 1 ounce of rum, though.
We had champagne from New Year's Eve of 23 and 24 still in the fridge.
Yeah, we did.
Because we were expecting to have a lot more mimosas the following morning, and we didn't.
Yeah.
I think we were hungover.
Yeah.
And then it's all over crushed ice. So, anyway.
Drink up.
Hashtag.
Me hearties, yo ho.
Drink.
Ooh.
Not bad. It's dry
Yeah.
because of the champagne.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting that much champagne flavor, but...
Well, it's 2 ounces of champagne to 1 ounce of rum.
They need to flip that script.
Mm.
It would have been better with 2 ounces of rum.
Well, you know whose fault that is. You drink. Sunny Boy says, tell me about dyeing long hair alone and a beard. See, I am grateful he never started dyeing his beard.
Nope, this is all natural, baby.
No. When we did Halloween, he did a little bit of like a tinting, we'll call it.
Back in the day.
But he never dyed.
Like 10 years ago.
I know somebody else who dyes his beard, and I don't see him online. Bo, go yell on the hotline. Tell them to get their butts in here.
Yeah. Somebody go over to his house and wake him up because he's probably passed out on his couch.
Well, we'll get to see him tomorrow and make fun of him. We'll tell you guys about that in a second. He's got to draw our next week's drink because we are back next week. What do we got? Can you read it? Can you? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Frangipani.
And there's no joke. This is how it's spelled.
Yeah. Spell it out.
Frangiapani. Ew.
All right. It's mango rum, which I know we have.
Mango.
Cointreau, which is triple sec, but I think we're actually going to buy a bottle of it because guess what? We have a dry bar. We can store no alcohol. Half and half, and frozen strawberries. So it's like a smoothie. It's an alcohol smoothie.
Half and half.
Yeah, it's kind of think of it of frozen strawberries and half and half. Think of it like strawberry ice cream with alcohol in it.
All right.
With mango rum.
They did this in the Caribbean, huh?
Trinidad. Trinidad is a huge island with many exports, including gorgeous tropical flowers of all types. The island is home to more than 400 species of birds and twice that many orchids. Because that tells me why they made a drink. Pour all ingredients together in a blender and serve. Yeah, because that tells me why they made this drink. Have the little thing.
The little thing.
It's something. So I guess we're having a blended drink next week.
Apparently that's why Jimmy Buffett put her in a song. Because she hails from Trinidad.
All right, well, next week's drink, blended. And yes, we'll be back next week. We're going to be back, actually, consistency.
We're not taking any more breaks until...
Nope.
After Thanksgiving.
Which is going to be our long-term
It's going to be in like 2 weeks.
So did you miss us? We missed us. I missed us. Maybe not.
My seat back here was getting cold.
Yeah. Really? With the 81 degrees we had today and yesterday and this week? Hey, it's like, we're in the second week.
I feel like
we're in the second week of November and it's summer.
Yeah, it feels like August.
Hey, Emily, we have Florida weather up here. Thank you.
We'll take it.
So, 2-week hiatus. Obviously, you groupies always miss you. Oh, we
miss you guys too.
We feel loved. So I was out of town for work the week of not Halloween, but the previous week. And sometimes we do a show during that week, but in the previous times we've done a show, it was either pre-recorded. We've done like with a guest on it where he's on one screen, I'm on the other.
Yeah.
And then we've also had Mr. Willis come over here and fill in my seat when I was gone. That was a fun episode. sitting there talking. And
that was a few years back.
Yeah. And Mr. Shanty Man who doesn't like shanties but sings shanties, so he was Shanty Man. But yeah, so I was gone, and then obviously last week Halloween was on Thursday.
So we
decided not
we
to
wanted to
earlier.
focus on handing out candy to the children.
And unlike previous years when we kind of bumped up the show early in the week, me personally, I was still recovering, because you got to remember that we were in Panama City. We came home. I went straight to work. 3 days. We had family day at the company. We dressed up, gave out trinkets and all that, and dealt with the trailer finally from Panama City. And then I flew out to San Diego on Monday. So I was in a totally different time zone. Shit show getting home. Got home Friday, and I didn't want to do anything over the weekend. Actually, Bo and Mikey came over and hung out with us for the weekend, and then I'm like straight back into work. Last week was my first full week back into work. So it's been where it's a little bit, it wore me down. I'm tired. I'm still tired. So tired. I'm glad to be doing it back tonight, but I'm freaking exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted.
So, I mean, we didn't have a chance to do a Halloween episode. We didn't really have
and
a
we've
chance
done
to set up
and we've had a Halloween episode every year. We've been doing Pillage Overload.
I missed
this. You just want to smoke me out.
I missed the fog machine.
Hey, guess what we did with the fog machine today? We filled up an air mattress to try not leak.
We found it.
We did.
But anyway, this is first time we haven't had a Halloween episode since we've been doing this, so that was kind of weird.
It was extremely weird.
But being that it was Thursday was Halloween, that kind of
we knew we wanted to do it. I mean, we've always tried to shift our episodes those week to accommodate.
Yeah. And normally I do a project and all that, but since we were doing Panama,
you do a whole freaking
for this
entourage.
This and actual Halloween outside, my decorations outside. I normally do some kind of project, but since we were gone and she was gone, and I just didn't. I normally take like a whole month and like build something cool.
I think we need to establish that our expectation also was on Halloween. We were traveling to Cedar Key, and obviously,
we didn't think we were even going to be in town. So.
Yeah. We didn't think we were going to be in town. What was it? It was actually the weekend of our anniversary is when the hurricane hit, and that's when we found out about Cedar Key, which was unfortunate. And we really, with something as prominent.
For those of you that don't know, our anniversary is the end of September.
Yes. And then that we always plan big, and we start planning beginning of September. Because of the end of the month, we have Harvest Fair, we have our anniversary, and a bunch of that. And it just wasn't on our mind. We were actually trying to figure out how we were going to deter kids from coming up to our house, because we are well known in the neighborhood for our
pirates
and trick-or-treating.
We had people coming up this year. We didn't have a pirate set up last year either. I did decorations, but they weren't pirate related.
And you put up a tombstone that says "Rest in peace, pirate decorations."
Yes, and we still had people this year, even though we didn't have pirate decorations last year. Yeah. We still had people this year wondering where our pirate decorations were. So clearly next year,
you had a great light show and a great music soundtrack. Everybody still enjoyed it. They still loved it.
We still had fun,
and it was 80 degrees on Halloween.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Craziness.
So we had Florida weather up here. So even though we couldn't be in Cedar Key, boo, we still had Florida weather. And thankfully, because it wasn't daylight savings time, it was because of his light show. Thankfully, when trick-or-treating started, it got dark beforehand. And then daylight saving time started. I just want to go to bed.
Yeah. It's getting dark at 5:00.
Quinn says, fog machine. And
yes,
Sunny Boy says, to say Bellis just took me time. Yeah, daylight saving time. It's definitely the last 2 years we've been at Cedar Key, which has been kind of nice because we stay up all night Saturday night hanging with our friends. We're drinking, we're singing shanties. And then by the time we crash, we're exhausted and we gain an hour. I think that's the best part about being in Cedar Key with that is that we actually
gain an hour in paradise.
After hanging out with your mates, you get an extra hour sleeping in before you got to get up and do it all over again.
How great is that?
So that is a major bonus. So we're hoping next year they'll be back. They'll have the infrastructure to be able to support pirates coming out.
Yeah.
And then we'll have lots, as I told Nate Franson, lots of steel beauties on the beach because we'll have our cannons.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I said it plural.
Yeah, by that time it'll be plural.
Yeah, at this time we only have this many, but by then we should have plural. Bo and Mikey are talking about coming with us, and Todd and Damon. And you talk about between the four of us with cannons. Yeah, we're gonna have our armada. So watch out, Cedar Key. We're bringing the boom booms.
Yeah.
And we got
we'll light that place up.
Yep. And we'll have a special announcement because obviously we cannot wait till Cedar Key next year to unveil our cannon.
Mm-hmm.
But that will come up in the next year. So yes, Tess, you'll be coming with us. Will you have your blunderbuss? Oh, you just had to.
Who said that?
Robert. I may have a blunderbuss, the original one. And that's one.
Yeah, she'll have a blunderbuss. It just won't be the one she ordered originally.
Which he hasn't updated since June. But that's a whole nother topic, a whole nother story, a whole nother time. And we can make
a whole show about that topic.
Hey, how about we talk about that next week for QVC about customer service and what? Anyway. Anyway.
Yes.
So, and speaking of which, check the website, our website. People who care about you will give you great customer service. Check our website as we get more items up there. We're getting more of the stuff that we brought with us to Panama City. I'm also finding out how shit isn't showing up, and I'm trying to get it to show up. So we got a bunch of ballast signs up there.
Yeah.
We got all
There's new stuff. Go check it out.
All of our slops.
Steve Bonnet flag.
Long vests are coming up. I got 2 up there now. We'll probably get the next 5 or 6 up in the next week. Christmas ornaments are coming out. You know, we're trying to figure out some fun things with that.
And she's got the stockings.
Stockings are up there. Little pirate themed stockings.
And naval related stockings.
Mm-hmm.
Which are cool.
And then we'll have, we're working on some of our weathered skull bottles. We haven't had them for at least a year. The last one we sold was last year, Harvester.
Yeah.
We've
been focusing on other things besides the bottles. So we're kind of, now that we're slowing down a little bit, it's getting to be wintertime.
But they're great. They're great. You can reuse them as decanters. They look great on your shelf. But we call them our weather skull series. And when you see the pictures, you'll understand.
You'll know why.
But this week,
should we move on to
this week on Pillage Overload, we talk about legends and lores.
We have a microphone right here.
You don't need to be in the microphone. I'm loud enough.
You stay right there.
I am right here.
All right. So yeah, we're talking about superstitions because pirates. Stupid. They're superstitious.
You're having issues the way I was trying to spell it. I'm like, what?
Pirates are superstitious.
Yeah, you know what else I can't apparently spell? The Dutchman. Screw that up every time I wrote it. But what do we mean when we say legends and lores and superstitions? Hey,
what do we mean?
We're talking about like Flying Dutchman, the Black Spot, Mermaids, Kraken, Davy Jones.
All things we're going to be talking about.
Jones! Sorry, wrong series.
Yeah. Wrong Jones.
Wrong Jones. Calypso. Also, curses and superstitions. There's some of that we're going to touch on tonight, too. But, we just came off of Halloween, and it really still is a big prominent thing with sailors and all that. Just ask Damon, because one of these items will probably hit on with what he did. But first and foremost, the black spot. Ballast is black spot. An original superstition.
No.
Oh. I just learned this today, by the way. I did not know.
As much as we would love it to be for real, it came from the movie, or the book, actually, Treasure Island.
By Robert Louis Stevenson.
Carried on to the movie.
Which ruined everything for piracy.
That were made about it. Yeah, so it served as a warning and a mark of impending doom.
Within the pirate community.
So, yeah.
And that's all.
If you got the black spot, and if anybody... All right,
and rewind this. And that's all, folks. Yeah.
I'm sure all of you have seen Pirates of the Caribbean, and you know about the black spot from that. It basically was portrayed the same way in Pirates as it was in the book and the Treasure Island movies. It was,
I think actually within Pirates of the Caribbean it was a little bit more prominent than they did in the book and Treasure Island.
They tied it into Davy Jones. And,
I'm surprised they didn't bring it into Black Sails.
That was kind of their thing on that, but still it was a mark of impending doom, which basically is the way it was portrayed.
I'm doomed because I'm always covered in black spots. That's Keith. Hi, Keith.
But that's the way it was portrayed in Pirates, because it was the impending doom of Davy Jones.
That's because you need fire retardant slops. You need to get the right canvas for those. What's interesting about what we talk about with Pirates of the Caribbean is just the... it's more prominent in how they made it more ominous, more horrible in Pirates of the Caribbean than they did in the Treasure Island movie.
Well,
hiya.
My thoughts on that is because of basically the way that movie was done. It was
about pirates.
Yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean. It was all it was kind of, it was that was the legends and the superstitions. They brought it all. They kind of stole it all from everywhere and put it in that movie. So it fit with the plot, obviously.
And we're going to hit on that at the end of the show as we go through these items, because that one movie takes a lot of the lores and legends and puts them together and it made it work. That's what's the interesting thing is when you look at the different legends and lores and the mythology and where they came from and the actual story behind them and how they took all of them and made a storyline for a movie, even though it wasn't original, it was original. So I think that was pretty neat for that.
The original part of it was how they put it all together and tied it into the story and made it work. Yeah. And
creative license is what Keith said.
Yes. Absolutely. If you were somebody that didn't know anything about any of that and came in and watched Pirates of the Caribbean, you would have thought that all those things were actually tied together. And they did a really good job.
I thought Black Spot was real.
Yeah. I mean, they did a really good job of entwining it in the story and making it sound like or feel like
they did.
That it all went together. When actually it really, technically, if you do what we're about to tell you about, it didn't. So we're gonna go into more of a lot of where all these legends and superstitions came from.
We're gonna hit the more common ones. Let's prelude this, but we're gonna hit some of the higher ones that were more common and some of the other things. And then obviously I wanted to start with the black spot because to me, with as much as we've done the research and all that, and we know a lot about sailors' lore and superstitions, I honestly thought that was true. I didn't realize it was from the book. And
it was an actual...
Kudos to him for creating something that has leached into
felt like it could be
yeah
a superstition that sailors had.
Yeah, because it seemed legitimate, especially when you start talking to the other ones, like the Kraken.
Yeah.
And I also want to sidebar real quick and say that a lot of the research that we do for this, it's not only within the books and online internet. We do use YouTube and other creators to watch their videos. So what we started doing is within our playlist, if you're interested, within our playlist, like this week, I created a playlist called Legends and Lores. And all the videos we watched, good or bad.
Some of them were good,
Let
some of them were bad.
Emphasize that. Good or bad. Because some of them were like, oh, what am I watching?
What you got to do, you got to take the bad with the good.
But
put it that way.
But we wanted to share with you what we saw, what videos we watched, and all that. So they're on there. Just be prepared. Some of them are really good. Some of them are horrible. Horrible. He fell asleep. Let me tell you, he fell asleep. So,
because
backtracking.
Anyway,
going to the Kraken. So the Krakens are our first big one that we want to hit on, and obviously the Kraken is the most noticeable. You talk about with Pirates of the Caribbean. You talk about Kraken rum, Kraken headphones. The way they use that to promote a lot
and
of stuff.
There is a brand of headphones called Kraken.
Yeah, the branding that they use with Kraken is, and then what this you might call is the Kraken, but
yes, enveloping our bottle of rum.
That's what she said.
So it originates with Norse mythology and folklore.
Scandinavian and Norse.
So the earliest form of this folklore. Fork off.
How much have you had?
The earliest form of this folklore.
Fork off, motherforker.
Appears in the 13th century. So Icelandics and
sagas, stories,
and the Norse, they were heavily superstitious. Obviously, it's because they came up with a lot of these superstitions.
So we consider them the originators.
Yes, and it turns up in the writings of King Sverre.
Sverre.
I guess that's how
Sverre?
Yeah.
Sverre?
That, like I said,
sound loud and annoying at the same time.
Like I said, 13th century.
Sverre? I said sound loud and annoying at the same time. But then,
and then you proved it.
And I did prove it. But then it later in the 1700s, obviously the time frame that we talk about with Pirates of the Caribbean, with Golden Age piracy, it really was prominent. I think that is where the lore really took off into what we see it today.
Yeah.
Because of the size of it.
And for those of you that don't know,
someone's having too much fun.
If you haven't been a pirate for like 5 seconds, a Kraken is described as an enormous creature, and it was believed to be so large that sailors often mistook it for an island, which is crazy because, if you think about the
bulbous head,
well, where they really came from, which we all know is probably giant squids.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't think that but they're sailors. They make shit up,
and
they blow it out of proportion. So if it was a giant squid that they were referring to,
which
them saying it was as big as an island is kind of like, whoa, all right.
Well, you got to think about perspective at that time too. A giant squid and we're going to say the word modern very loosely, and we're going to say modern because that's what we're talking about in today, what they were able to actually record. So modern giant squids are recorded at between 40 and 50 feet long.
Yeah.
So this fueled that speculations, and what we know, that's what we found and what we figured out. And you start talking about perspective on an ocean, and we'll get into that with
we'll
get into that with the Flying Dutchman. But when you start talking about perspective, and then how these guys is their their heads, how it I guess could potentially look like an island, the shape of it. If you see this from this close to that far, I guess there differences on that.
Being sailors, they're gonna blow things out of proportion and make up stories.
They're uneducated. Most of them are on. I think that's something we need to remember. Most of them are uneducated. They only know what they see. They only know what they experience.
What they see are extremely large animals coming out of the ocean, and they have no idea what they're gonna do, how they should react to it. So they're gonna.
That's a lot of calamari.
For real.
Sorry. That was great. Yes, I like calamari. Bo likes it too when it's not doughy.
Yeah, if they could only killed one, they could have fed the crew for like a month.
Well, they talking about killing it, part of what they had found with documenting these guys was their beaks inside of sperm whales, because sperm whales eat them. They have these like what was it? King Kong. Who did King Kong fight? Godzilla.
Yeah.
Kong and Godzilla. That's like the sperm whale and the Kraken fighting each other. And honestly, it seems like the sperm whale wins every time, because that's who we see. That's who we know exists. And you look at the sperm whale and their scars, are actually the size, like massive size of suckers. And they say the suckers of a Kraken have hooks. And then they find the beaks of octopuses in them too.
Right. And, they're so rarely seen by humans. When these things appear, they're going to be incredulous about it. Imagine
they're deep,
imagine
they're ocean deep creatures.
Yeah. And then imagine you're sailing in the middle of the night in the North Atlantic, and all of a sudden, blam, this huge 50-foot squid that you've never seen before just pops out of the ocean and starts, everybody sees it and they're like, holy crap.
I think a big thing that when we watched a lot of the videos, when we did a lot of the reading and all the research, the biggest thing is that we do not know as much as we think we know about our ocean depths. We are looking towards the solar system and the outside more than we do the ocean depths. I've joked about it in the past. He calls me shipwreck at home because I love looking at shipwrecks in the depth. And when they start...
We've barely even touched the research we need to do on the deep oceans.
And you start talking about the amount of ships we have lost or on the ocean floor for archaeological digs underwater. It's insane. And a lot of people are just freaked out by the fact that they're floating and the ground's down here and they're nowhere near touching it.
I mean, and they hadn't even got full measurements on these creatures until the early 2000s. So imagine back then, nobody even thought that these kinds of things existed until they saw them.
The fathom of trying to wrap your head around something you have never seen before.
Right. And it's not like they could just drop a drone off the side of the ship and go follow it around. They saw it and then it disappeared. And then they told the story about it and somebody else saw something similar and it disappeared. So it was like, this legendary thing that just got passed around in stories. And of course the stories blew things out of proportion. And
so before we jump into the next topic, he said, and I'm not fully following what he said, the scars that slough S-L-O-U-G-H off from the stomach of the sperm whale from the fight with the squid is ambergris, basis of perfume. He got me everything except the basis of perfume. That's the part I don't...
You must explain, sir.
The basis of perfume part is what you caught me off guard. The rest of it I kind of got. Saw an article talk about how we we know way more about outer space than the ocean depths. Yes, Glenn said that.
Yeah.
100%. And that is honestly most of the stuff that when we started researching, they start with that. They said, we know more about the solar system and outside than we know about our own oceans. And I think that's why I was always drawn to shipwrecks. And oh, thank you, Brenda. Brenda says amargus is a perfume ingredient.
Okay.
Basis of perfume. Oh.
Gotcha.
Oh.
All right.
Oh. I don't know how I feel about
any
that.
of that
That's
smells
kinda,
good.
you know what it reminds me of is the cat that shits out the coffee beans and they grind them and they drink them. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I feel like with that statement. That just does not seem right, and I don't know if I want it, but it's right around what there.
None of that sounds good.
Nope.
Anyway,
so moving on to
something that,
similar. Yeah. You actually pointed this one out to me. I never heard about this beforehand.
The Luska.
Yeah, where did you hear about? First off, where have you heard about Luskas? When we were doing our research, you heard the name of it?
We were doing our research. Okay. I came across it.
Okay.
It's a legendary sea monster from the Caribbean folklore. So it's kind of similar to a Kraken, except for the Luska is a combination of a shark and a squid. So it's got a shark body with squid tentacles.
So, I'm still trying to picture this, and I honestly should have probably found it.
And this one was only in the Caribbean because they were supposedly hung out around sinkholes, and blue holes, which you know of.
What do they call them? What are the cenotes?
Similar to that, except for in the water. So cenotes are on land. It would be basically a cenote,
but in water. But the idea of being
and cenotes were kind of scary because if you went down in them, the current in not cenotes but blue holes. Sorry,
because you're out in the open with those.
Yeah, you're out on the. Yep. They're offshore, so the current in the blue holes is kind of strong, and they're dark and murky. So if a giant beast jumped out of there and drug you down, it's kind of scary.
Tess said we should have asked for a witch. Witch! You're on the show with us. You should have told me. I just figured it out.
Obviously, this one was inspired by the giant squid and probably the Kraken, but it was the Caribbean version of it because it was tied to a shark.
Yeah, because the Kraken, even though you were saying it's all over the world, that was more in Norway. But the mythology was closer to Norway, though.
Well,
no,
not Krakens in particular, but giant squid are found in every ocean.
Yeah, so but we're talking. Yeah, the difference between the two.
I think the reason it started in Norway and up there in the Norse tradition is because they were some of the first sailors and some of the first people to traverse the oceans. So they probably had seen them more often than most people would have.
We joke about
out on the open ocean.
We joke about how Vikings were pirates. They were the original, and we just made it better.
Oh, pirates have been around for thousands.
But that's what I'm saying. They started it. We made it better.
We improved on it.
And one thing we didn't mention when we were talking Kraken, I just want to make one more comment because you were talking about sinkholes and those depths. The whirlpools that happened in the open ocean, they said that was from the Krakens suddenly descending into the deep and creating those whirlpools. So again, it's just taking the natural phenomena of the oceans and putting something, I guess, tangible to it, something similar to what we're talking about with Luska. And actually, with a lot of these lores we're talking about, is taking something that freaks the unknown and turning it into something tangible that you can explain away. I mean, we can
or tell a story about.
We can get into like the Mothman and the Jersey Devil and stuff like that. That's outside. It's kind of the same idea.
You got to think about it. You got to think about it this way. When sailors were out on the ocean and just sailing like they do, they had plenty of time.
I'm all alone
on their hands.
There's no one near beside me.
They had plenty of time on their hands to tell stories. So all these legends and all these stories got passed along, and they got blown out of proportion by probably the people that had seen these things happen. So, of course they're going to get blown out of proportion.
Well, that's what they're saying. And
the Luska is a perfect example of
especially when you start talking about the real life inspirations that it might have evolved from.
Like combination of a shark with tentacles. Like, really, there's everybody knows there's no actual animal that looks like that. But when you see it come out of the dark, if you see a shark and you don't really see it well, you're gonna make shit up, and obviously you're gonna make it sound worse than it really was.
You had the giant squids, you had the sperm whales, you had tiger sharks. Like there was just a lot of marine life, and
that's giant. And
then you talk about how clarity. Caribbean water is clear when you get closer to the coast, when the depth is less. When you have that, when you're still in the deep ocean, the unknown and what you see. And then especially your mind
you just get around these blue holes and all that. Those blue holes are dark. That weirded people out.
Brenda said in the Michael Crichton book, Eaters of the Dead, it's a translation of the Journal of Odd. I'm not even going to say the whole goddamn name. He speaks of sea monsters. This journal is the basis of the movie The 13th Warrior. He says he loves that movie. I'm not familiar with that movie.
Interesting.
But Michael Crichton, we have a couple books from him. And he did that. He has that pirate book that almost became Pirates of the Caribbean. Yes. And it didn't become Pirates of the Caribbean because of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. Pirate Latitudes.
That's it.
Book he wrote. And actually, I think Stephen... I believe
I'm not getting up to move it.
The last I read is that Steven Spielberg actually has the rights to Pirate Latitudes. So they were thinking about making that movie, and then obviously
Pirates of the Caribbean paused that, so it kind of stopped.
It would be interesting.
John Johnson, welcome.
It would be interesting if he did greenlight that and actually make that movie. Now would be the time.
It's been how many years since we've had?
We need another pirate movie.
We need another solid pirate movie,
especially from him, because Spielberg has some background.
Great movies.
Well, he has background.
Oh my god.
And background with Michael Crichton, because Michael Crichton's the one that wrote Jurassic Park. So.
And so I'm saying, you talk about both of those characters, both the movies they write. Anyway, so John Johnson is a recent subscriber, because I only see those who want me to be subscribers, and he's on. So glad you joined us. I know you were talking about wanting to see us. So hi.
Thanks for joining us, buddy.
But yeah, I would love to see him do a movie, because
Spielberg needs to do a pirate movie.
He does need to do a pirate movie. Like, you talk about...
He needs to do something.
There's just so many movies, that are great, and we just need something. We just need something new. We need something great. We need something new. We need something to...
That's not
invigorate...
Caribbean 6.
We need somebody to invigorate the pirate community, because, obviously, Pirates of the Caribbean got us into doing reenactment. And we're turning to the old fogies of the reenactment community. We need another new movie to get the young blood to come out.
I got gray hair doesn't mean I'm an old fogey.
I'm kind of starting.
Oh, shut up. Anyways,
but my point being is that it'd be great if they can if within the next 5 years we can get another really good pirate movie out there to start drawing more interest in doing the reenactment stuff and learning about the original history.
We're losing you, man.
We're losing a lot. So, Kraken, I'm going to kind of push it into the Flying Dutchman, and after Flying Dutchman, we'll talk about the next piece, and I'll kind of at the end of this, you'll understand why we're talking this flow. So, Flying Dutchman, which was a legend likely originated in the 17th century in the Dutch, because Dutchman, golden age piracy of the exploration trade. The ship is said to hail from the Netherlands, again Dutch, when its captain often referred to as Captain Hendrik van der Dicken.
Van der Dicken.
Otherwise known as the Dutchman. So that's spoiler.
His name was Van der Dicken.
It's not Davy Jones.
So, according to legend, the Flying Dutchman and the crew were cursed to sail the oceans forever. The curse was often said to be a punishment for the captain's hubris and defiance of divine powers, such as attempting to sail through a dangerous storm despite warnings.
So basically, they were being a dick, and they got punished, essentially.
So,
I mean, how better? What other way can you say
to
that?
me, the reason it was called the Flying Dutchman is I'm guessing that it was seen in a lot of mirages. Because there are a certain type of mirage.
It's called the Fata Morgana.
Yes.
I have that on here. Made sure we got that.
Yes. Which the Fata Morgana
is scientific, and it's scientific.
It's a real thing, and it really does make it look like a ship is flying above the horizon. So if you would have seen that as a sailor back in the 18th century... It's an optical
illusion.
Right. And imagine if you're back in the 18th century and you've seen an optical illusion like the Fata Morgana. Mm-hmm. It looks like a ship is flying.
But they've also had
the Flying Dutchman.
And they've also interacted with a lot of wreckage from real ships because they were in lower water tables and maybe did not realize it. And just with the fogs, like this, like we had a massive fog yesterday, actually, just from the temperature drop. And it's the same thing on the water. So you think about real shipwrecks with them having a low water table. And then you talk about the temperature of the water and just the air current coming in and creating that fog and just treacherous waters. So it's an illusion. It's the feeling of floating. And one of the most famous alleged sightings of the Flying Dutchman that's documented occurred in 1881 by Prince George of Wales. Let me repeat that. By Prince George of Wales. By an actual...
Who was later King George V.
Somebody of importance.
Yeah. Somebody of importance. Yeah. So that means it's for real.
I shake very But he and his crew reported seeing a ghostly ship glowing red in the distance near Cape of Good Hope. But that's all I'm saying is that
if you know where the Cape of Good Hope is, southern tip of Africa.
Yep. And there's been numerous other sightings reported throughout the centuries, but most of them have been on the coast of South Africa, which is interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting why it would only be in that area. But I thought it was interesting specifically to say that Prince George of Wales, the future King George V, actually admitted to seeing this because most of the time when they're in that, they don't admit to shit. And then you got Davy Jones.
Yeah. Who? Spoiler alert. He wasn't the captain.
The captain of Flying Dutchman. We can blame Pirates of the Caribbean on this one.
Yep.
Actually, we can blame Pirates of the Caribbean on a lot of these.
And honestly, this is where the brilliance of the story of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, you're getting ahead of me, Brenda. Shh.
This is where the brilliance of the Pirates of the Caribbean came in because they tied these legends together.
Oh, you're way jumping ahead of what we're talking about, but go ahead. At the end of it, I'm talking about how we join all those together.
Well,
you can give a little tidbit. How about
I guess we should talk about.
What about the real David? All right, so I'll read this before
Davy Jones
before you jump that. Fatal Morgana is likely the basis for many things. The legends of mermaids comes from seals, other similar creatures, if you have ever seen them from the back. We haven't gotten to mermaids yet. We're getting there. But yes.
We may get there because we got 10 minutes left.
If we keep a crowd on, we can kind of push it a little bit longer.
We'll see.
We'll feel how it goes. Davy Jones.
So we should probably talk about who Davy Jones is first.
And we should talk about where it came from before we start talking about the
connection in Pirates of Davy Jones and
Pirates of the Caribbean
and the Flying Dutchman.
The Flying Dutchman. Damn that sparrow! Sparrow! Oh, we're all gonna die. Anyway. So origins of Davy Jones, obviously Devil of the Sea. I mean, you talk about how short version is his Devil of the Sea.
It's the short version.
It's the short version. He's a malevolent spirit and demon that some cultures thought of, and he
was the personification of the ocean's danger.
Is that what he was? It's danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Yeah.
Danger, Jack Sparrow. Danger.
Depicted as a malevolent spirit.
I know, that's what I just said. But the exact origins...
demon.
But the exact origins of him are completely unclear. His name is not really clear.
There's several stories about where Davy Jones... the legend of Davy Jones originated.
There was a barkeeper whose name was Davy Jones, or David Jones, or something like that, and he knocked people across the head and stuck them in barrels, and they smuggled him on board on Davy Jones, and they press ganged him into his crew. And then some theories suggest he may be based on Duffer Jones, who was a clumsy sailor, which I don't understand why you would like. Davy Jones and a clumsy sailor don't mix. Like what the But the first mention in literature, if we're talking about origins of him, was in the 18th century with Daniel Defoe. And why are we shocked that it's Daniel Defoe?
No, we're not.
We're not. Daniel Defoe, Vikings. Tess says Vikings. Daniel Defoe is the originator for a lot of misconceptions of pirates and lore and all that. I honestly think he's a really good perception to looking at that time period. You know, you got to look.
To me, he was like the National Enquirer of this early 1700s.
Yeah.
He just kind of took stuff that was half based in reality and just totally blew it out of proportion to make a story out of it to make himself famous.
I don't know if he did it to make himself famous. I think he did it to
make the pirates famous.
I think he did it.
What was his motive? Like, why would he just take all this different stuff?
I think that sometimes when writers write, it's not so much outside of what they're trying to do. It's they're taking their imagination and they're putting it on the paper and they're getting excited about what they're
what they're trying to do? Trying to make money.
Back then, I don't know if they knew writing books made money because most people were illiterate. It's not like today.
Yeah, but most pirates were illiterate. The people he was selling his books to clearly were not. And he wanted to make it blow it out of proportion for them so he could carry on the legends of these people.
I got you.
Sell more books.
Tess made a good point. It says they also use it to scare and keep control of the sailors. That's also another part. I would honestly... Truth. I hear what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying. But I would lean more towards what Tess said with keeping control, and that's honestly maybe how they wrote the books, to keep control of people.
Because, I mean, clearly the English wanted control of their sailors.
Yeah.
They had the largest navy in the world at the time,
so there's a
they
term,
needed control.
There's a term I like to use called rob and deploy. We use this a lot in the construction business where I'm at. You find a good idea, you reuse it, you deploy it. Why recreate the wheel when it's already created? And with Davy Jones, you can now go into your tangent about how they took a lot of those mythical lores and different pieces and started pulling it together. And that's what me and you were talking about earlier. They did a really good job of that. Like Davy Jones.
Oh, talking about Pirates.
Pirates, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Pirates
of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Davy Jones, originally a demon of the sea, but he was reimagined as a cursed sailor with a tragic backstory. And even John said that, what did he say? He did have a tough backstory in the Pirates, at least. And yes, that's what
he did.
They took and the pieces of this.
They purposely made sure he had a tough backstory because he was the devil. You know, he had to have a tough backstory because of the persona he had. You know,
they took Davy Jones, that normal demon of the sea, reimagined him as a cursed sailor, tragic backstory, to be in the captain of Flying Dutchman, which is not the true lore, but the Flying Dutchman was a ghost ship that was okay. Let's put
everything about
those
that.
seem like easy. Those seem like easy pieces to kind of like, we can put this together and make it believable.
We just gotta connect them somehow, and the connection is.
It was simple. The connections are actually simple when you start talking about that.
The connection is tragedy. It's all tragic. Everything about it.
And it's an illusion. It's all an illusion. And then you bring Calypso into the story. And Calypso was inspired by a Greek goddess in Caribbean myths, and then brought into this whole thing. Like her story about how she was what's the word I'm looking for? Disdained or whatever. Like her initial story, and they just kind of brought that together. And then the other pieces of it, the 10-year reunion and the heart and the chest. Those are all based in mythology or some kind of lore. I think what were we talking about? Russian folklore was the one about the soul hidden away in a heart of, I don't know if it was heart of a chest, but soul's hidden away to make you invincible. If this is here, you're invincible.
Yeah. So which, if you think about Pirates of the Caribbean, if you had Davy Jones's heart in a chest, you were invincible. You had control.
Which is interesting because you already turned somebody who felt invincible with a ship that was invincible into something that was more.
You had control of the seas.
Invincible. So that was, and I think that is what we were talking about earlier. Pirates of the Caribbean did something very good with that storyline, was bringing all those parts and pieces together, and they did a really good job of taking like five different myths. It was Davy Jones, Flying Dutchman, Calypso, the 10 years, and the heart, and the heart piece. They took those 5 pieces and they made a pretty solid movie with them, and believable to the point where everybody thinks that Davy Jones is the captain of Flying Dutchman.
They definitely did their research into the superstitions and mythology part of pirate lore.
They made it believable
to make the story for that movie,
and they made that story with those parts and pieces.
Like I said in the beginning, if you didn't know anything about any of those stories, you would have thought that's they were all tied together like that. If you watch the movie, but they weren't. They were completely different story or superstitions all brought together into one story.
So I find this interesting. Keith said pirates were simple and superstitious and uneducated, so it was easy to convince them to do what you wanted them to do.
Mm-hmm.
In that same breath, I will say pirates, 20th century, and those of us who like to watch movies are gullible to watch what we see on TV.
Mm-hmm.
How many, if you were to go into, obviously you joke about we run into the questions, what's a pirate's favorite letter? All that stupid shit. But if you were to go to somebody and said, who was the captain of the Flying Dutchman? What would they say?
Davy Jones.
Davy Jones. Who was Calypso? Who was Calypso's?
Not Vanderdick.
Right. Who is Calypso's scorned lover? Because there is one within Greek mythology that's in there. It's not a well-known name. Be interested to see that. What is the common time frame that you were separated from the one you love? Because in mythology, it's normally a god and a mortal. They can only be together once a year, not every 10 years.
Was it
so?
Calypso's was
I don't remember.
Odysseus?
Oh, that might be right. I don't know. I don't remember.
I can't remember if it was Odysseus with the Kraken or Odysseus with Calypso.
I don't remember, but the name sounds right. But that's my point, is at least you have an idea of, because we did this research of what the two is.
Yeah.
But it'd be very interesting to go out in public and ask those questions and see that.
And that's how far back these things go, all the way to Greek mythology,
But that's what I think is great about Keith's comment, is he's talking about, yes, sailors were.
They were.
And they still are.
And all that ties together. And that's why these superstitions prevail, and these legends took on a life of their own and lasted as long as they did, because of the fact that the sailors were easily they were
easily
superstitious.
Spooked. And then the superstitions have not changed.
And uneducated. They didn't know any better.
But to say that, even back then, 17th century, hey, I resemble that mark. Even back then, with the superstitions and the curses that they believed in, sailors today still believe in it. And I know this because first-handedly, we are friends with people who sail. And like the first one I'm talking about, whistling on a ship. Whistling on a ship. That means bosun whistle, 100%. Whistling on a ship is bad. Why? And I had to look this one up. I knew it was bad. I wasn't exactly sure why it was bad. But whistling was thought to call upon the winds and storms. And it was also thought that whistling actually sounded like the wind. So that's why whistling was bad, obviously. And it's still a superstition of today. And I think that's the only thing I just want to emphasize on. It's not just back wind, then, it's just now.
But strong wind. So, obviously if you're sailing a ship back in the 18th century, you want wind, because if you don't have wind, you're not going anywhere. You're talking about
gale winds.
Yes, strong winds.
Full-blown tempest winds, so to speak. Yeah.
That's what they're referring to.
Yeah. And they thought that if you whistled, you provoked the gods, because back then it was more, talking about Greek mythology and the different gods across the, you have Apollo and Poseidon and all those. So that is something that is still a superstition for today. Now, killing an albatross, and every time I say albatross, I keep thinking of our Talk Like a Pirate insults. Albatross eating seagull. They're considered seabirds as souls of sailors. Say that 10 times fast, please.
Seabirds that carry the souls of lost sailors.
No, that's harbingers of land and weather. You're just changing it so you make it easier for you.
That's what it says right there.
Seabirds as souls of sailors. That's what I read. That's not what you said.
I see seabirds that carry the souls of lost sailors.
Yeah, but it's a seabirds as soul of sailors. Say that 10 times fast is what I said.
Yes.
Yes, you're not saying it.
Killing one was seen as
you don't want to say it.
Disrespect to those who had perished at sea, inviting the wrath of bad luck on a ship.
Again, it's like one says, the sea gods, goddesses are for real.
Harbingers of sorrow.
Harbingers of land and weather. Albatrosses are known for the long distance flights. We're often seen far from land, which is probably what freaked most of them out. It's like, why the hell are you flying this far from land?
Yeah.
Kind of like when you look at a carrier and the planes are coming off, like, you're not supposed to be here. Sorry.
Huh?
Anyway. I like history. So, and then the last one I want to talk about is getting tattoos that could protect from drowning. So sailors believe that certain tattoo designs could offer protection from the perils of the sea, including drowning. Learning how to swim just didn't cross their minds.
Yeah.
No, just the water.
Hell with that.
The belief
they didn't need to learn how to swim. They were floating on a ship.
Until they weren't.
Yeah, well.
The belief was likely originated from the combination of indigenous tattooing practices encountered during voyages and long-standing maritime superstitions.
Don't fall off the ship.
Don't fall off the ship. Hey, it's like don't let a black cat cross.
Here's my advice. Don't fall off the ship.
Well, we talked about this during one of our episodes.
Don't do something stupid that gets you thrown off the ship.
Don't learn how to swim because you'll drown.
Huh?
That was one of the superstitions that we did like a couple years.
Don't learn how to swim because you'll drown.
Yeah, most sailors did not learn how to swim
because they thought they were going to drown.
Because they thought they learned how to swim, they would drown. It would be like automatic that they would drown.
That's because all them Krakens out there.
I'm telling you, we need to go back and revisit some of these older episodes.
They just don't want to go in the water. Period.
Oh my god.
Which is hilarious.
Which is like most
because they sailed on water their whole lives, pretty much.
Well, that's like the Navy. How many people in the Navy?
Yeah.
Well, you go through boot camp, so you have to swim. But how many people really don't know how to swim when they go through boot camp?
You'd be surprised.
And there's no bell bottoms to save your ass this time.
Look, I was in the Navy, and I can tell you, people from big cities like New York and all that, they don't know how to swim.
Well, thankfully,
and think about why. If you live in the city, where the hell are you going to go to swim?
A pool?
Well, if you're from the Bronx and you're not very well off,
a puddle?
Going to the pool costs money.
A puddle? The water is lava. Too much like a bath. They don't bathe. I like one. The water's lava. Water's lava. Well, we got one more. We figured we'll finish this off because I know we're a little bit after 9. We cannot talk about Legends of Lore without talking about mermaids. Oh.
We'll just leave a big empty space right there.
So mermaid origins obviously is as ancient as the Assyrian mythology, 1000 BCE. I'm intimidated. There are a lot of people the Hampton Roads that don't know how to swim. Well, hopefully it doesn't flood. One of the earliest known mermaid figures is the goddess Ataris. I can't say that. She's a Syrian deity associated with fertility and water. And honestly, a lot of what you read about, mermaids were associated with fertility. Interesting.
It's because they want to.
With what? They're a fish. And then Greek mythology had stories of sirens, which we all know about when you start talking about Homer's Odyssey and stuff like that. But they were initially described as bird women who evolved into sweet sea.
It helps if you don't put your finger in front of your face.
Sea-dwelling creatures. I don't know how the hell you get from a bird to a sea-dwelling creature.
Creature?
Creature.
It's the albatross.
Albatross. The albatross is getting me. Oh my god. It's the end of the world. I'm gonna drown.
Sea-dwelling creature.
The sea-dwelling creature.
That's what happens when we go over the hour.
We're almost done. I promise, we're almost done.
We start calling things creatures.
Hey, you gotta start thinking about Poseidon. Poseidon was actually originally in the Greek myth. He was half man and half, I guess, mermaid. His upper body.
He's a merman.
He's basically Ariel's dad in Little Mermaid.
I know what you're.
Well, I'm making sure everybody out there knows what I'm talking about. Going back to Disney, Pirates of the Caribbean and everything. Let's just do it all with Disney.
Yeah.
And then you got the medieval Europe, where mermaids appeared in European folklore, omens and symbols of danger. Oh my! And they were linked to shipwrecks, storms, and drowned sailors, which is
medieval Europeans.
Yeah, well, harbingers of doom, warning of sailors, and yet their behavior is looked at in two different ways. They're benevolent and malevolent. Malevolent, like Maleficent. They were good and bad. Some of them are protectors. They helped you.
Yeah, let's
saved
just go
you.
With good and bad.
Good and bad. Other ones are like drown you and said, "Screw you! You're gonna die."
Did you die?
But did you die? I died today. There are a lot of I read that one. But did you die? You're here. Hi. Hey, guess what? We survived an episode of Pillage Overload when we're tired and just trying to figure out how to make day-to-day bullshit. Peace.
So, we got stuff coming up.
Yeah, what do we have up this coming weekend? Which is also a reason why we're slap happy and not here. Yeah, trying to figure out what the hell we're doing with life.
We apologize if you've hung out with us this long. Thank you. Because we're slap happy and we're tired, and we have an event we're preparing for this weekend, which is the Yorktown Maritime Market.
Thank you.
Where we're celebrating, which they've already done, because the actual tea party happened
Thursday,
on November 7th.
Yeah, which is Thursday. They live streamed today, today is Thursday.
Yeah.
They live streamed it today.
So
they're doing it again tomorrow. They're doing it again Saturday. They're doing it Sunday.
The actual event happened today.
Weekend, Bo.
The actual event happened today.
Yeah, that's why they live streamed.
We're celebrating it this weekend. So this weekend we're going to be in Yorktown.
250th anniversary. It's normally a 1-day event for us for the weekend, and it's turned into 2. And I don't think the crew and us have fully sunk in that it's a 2-day event. We keep talking about like it's a 2-day event. We keep saying it's a 2-day event, but we're not acting like it's a 2-day event. Until we get there, and it'll be a 2-day event.
November.
Yeah, November. Camping in November.
Yeah. So, there's that. And then...
Although it is 80 degrees, so that's okay.
Today, it's going to be 60.
Oh, shit.
Saturday. So...
It's a good thing we're in a location. Yes, spoiler. We're not sleeping in canvas. We are sleeping where it's warm because I'm over this shit.
I hope you enjoyed today because...
Is that it? We're going back to the cold and miserable and over it?
Just the weekend. It's going to go back into the 70s.
Oh, of course. Next week. Of course. After the weekend of an event.
Yeah. Well, that's how that works.
We want you to make it feel it. Rough it out and all that. So what are we doing next week then? So this week's our last event, right? Last event of the year.
Yes.
All right.
Last pirate event.
Pirate event. Oh yeah, we got something else other than Pirate event before the end of the year.
Illumination.
Oh, crew event. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Good.
So that's not an official event.
Not official. Good.
So okay. Yeah. So next week's episode is going to be our QVC episode.
What is that?
Where we
hawk off our shit.
Hawk our wares on our live stream. So stay tuned for that, because you will get to see all of Pirate. Who are we? Parlay. Parlay 8's wonderful wares and things that we sell. And
we're gonna share with you what we're working on, what we got.
Yeah.
Put it in 3D. Yeah,
it's
called movie motion.
It's gonna be all about us for once.
Actually, I might bring in some of our friends' stuff and telling them about it. That's not what we sell, where you might be able to get some other things.
Because we support other
pirates supporting businesses. Pirates. We are friends. We are friends with other pirates.
So after that, next episode after that is going to be the
season finale. That is episode 10.
Yep. And then we're done for the year.
And then we'll be back in the after New Year's.
Yeah.
We'll have a short break.
Taking the holidays off.
Break. As always, we're going to stop before the weekend before Thanksgiving.
Yep.
That gives us about 6 weeks to take a break. We'll be back in the spring. We'll do about 12 weeks of shows before we start full-time pirating in April with the crew. Not to say that we're not going to have some other things. We got some good ideas coming up.
We got things coming.
Stick
around.
Coming and going and coming and going.
Stick around.
So definitely come around the next 2 weeks. Let us know what you think, what you like. Like, subscribe.
Tell your friends. Bring them.
Try to help us hit 250 before the end of the year. That would be kind of neat. We're not pushing it. We're pushing it. Give us 250.
We're pushing it.
I don't have any weapons here right now. Oh, here. Nope. I don't want to ruin
don't do that.
I'm not going to ruin the rum.
No.
Why would I ruin the rum?
All right. So off we go.
Till next time. Thank you for joining us. Everybody. Bo, John, Keith, everybody.
Everybody who stuck around.
Emily, Robert, Glenn, Tess. We have 11 people on, even if you're not talking. Thank you for joining us. We totally appreciate it. We love it. We hope you guys enjoyed the show this week.
Rambling and slap happiness.
You keep. Sorry, did I hit you with my Thor hammer?
Yeah.
You keep stepping on my toe.
Oh, wah. Anyway, it's just what we do. So thanks for sticking around, guys.
Thank you for sticking around. Next week, let us know. Check out all our social media, ring the bell, all that good stuff. And until next week, as always, give me 1 second so I could do 3 things at once because I only have 2 arms. And I'm going to cross-S this and go, # drink more rum.